Welcome back into the Clay Edwards Show. We've had Ryan sitting on hold on the Mazda of Jackson phone line through the break there, so we're going to go straight to Ryan. What's up, brother?
Hey, man. People, when I first got introduced to you, my first thing was, man, this dude is racist. But this was on so much of a surface level, and me reading things that were shared by other people, just on the surface level. But then when I started to research stuff and listen to what you were actually saying and getting out of my feelings, which men should do, actually what adults should do, and just, get out of your feelings, get out of your emotions, and listen to the facts, listen to what the person is saying, they would soon change their tune. I'll give you a real story, man. This is not something that I'm dreaming up. This just happened. I live in Jackson. I miss Pearl, man. I want to go back. I think I'm going back. But anyway, I live in Jackson. A car down the street from me was just broken into. I stopped the actual break-in. It took JPD, and I know JPD is not to blame for this, but it took JPD 47 minutes to get here. And when they got here, all they did was just leave a card on the person's seat that the car was broken into. They left a card there. The reason I was able to access the seat because the window was gone. Anyway, what people need to realize is that, man, they need to change their ideas. And because if they change their ideas on how they think and how they, if they just honest with themselves, they would see that you guys, me, you, and Kenway, and a whole lot of other people are more aligned than we are different. That has nothing to do with race, man. Nobody wants to live in what Trump called an S-hole. And people need to realize that Jackson right now is an S-hole. And it needs to be revamped, needs to be taken over, whatever it needs to happen. But it was one president, I think he was a Democrat. I can't think of his name. I should have looked up the quote. But he was like, I have these N-words voting Democrat for the rest of their lives. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but I forgot which president said it. And
it's right. I know. I forget some of those older guys' names, too, but it's the one that brought in the welfare.
Right. And dude was brilliant. Because it's working, it has worked, and will forever work until people actually wake up. The people that are woke ain't woke up, man. It ain't. I hate people hijack terms and say it means this, it means that, but it does not. If you are really woke, you would get off of the Democratic plantation. And also, even if you want to say, well, what's my alternative? If the Republican is not offering you something, don't vote for them either. But you need to be able to organize and get in the position so you can have somebody to represent you. But if you don't have anybody to represent you, you need to be a part of the solution and get with people that are trying to give you something instead of nothing or the same thing. Because we're getting the same thing year after year after year. It just so happened that the people that are in power are the Democrats. And, I grew up Democrat. And I had to ask myself, why am I Democrat? Just the same reason why I had to ask myself, why am I Christian? Because I grew up that way. Not saying there's anything wrong with Christianity. Not saying there's anything wrong with being a Democrat. I'm saying the people that are in power, because there are people like Trump said, and they didn't even understand when he said that. There are good people on both sides, and you can apply that to almost every argument. There are good people on both sides.
Sure.
You just have to be smart enough, man, to realize
quick history
what side
lesson.
you're on.
Quick history lesson here. It was LBJ that said it.
LBJ. Okay. And it's been working, man. It's been working ever since. And what I realize is that people don't like facts. They just don't. I do not understand that people don't like facts. Man, you can hit them with a fact, and they would try to counter it. Like, you can't counter my fact with another fact.
With your feelings.
Right. It doesn't make sense. And if we're doing that, then what's the end game?
Well, see, that's what they done, Ryan. That's why they call me a racist, because I speak in facts. And my facts a little harsh. I put a little sauce on it because I'm trying to get through to knuckleheads. Yeah, sure I do. And I understand some of the name calling, some of the perceptions about me. It's going to come with that, right? I know that. I'm not surprised that I get called a racist, because it's an uncomfortable conversation that we haven't been having enough. So now when people, after they haven't been hearing the right conversation, after people have been so afraid to have the conversation with them because they don't want to get called a racist, that they just quit having the conversation, it's gonna be a shock to the system when somebody ain't scared to have this talk, when somebody ain't scared to speak some uncomfortable truths. I mean, look, I love nothing more than just sitting here and having this conversation with you, because I remember you sent me a message one time before I even knew you, called me a racist, you know?
Yeah.
And, I was like, well, screw you too, you know? And I've dealt with this for years and years and years. I was so, when I found out this was you that was calling this show, I was so excited for you, man, and for myself. Because A, I never had a problem with you, and B, it just showed me that if a guy whose first two words ever to me were "you're a racist" has turned the corner and is now listening to this, I had nothing but respect for you, man.
I appreciate it, man, and it's likewise. I have nothing but respect for you and Ken Wade. I hear the words that people call Ken Wade, but the people that are calling and slinging these words, hurling these words, man, they're in the same situation they were 4 years ago, 8 years ago. What then? Something you have to turn the corner. You have to turn the corner. These folks don't want to turn the corner. They, it's beyond me, man. It's beyond me. I do not understand. Why do you want to continue on the same trajectory that you're on? Because it's headed for failure. It's in failure now. It's going lower and lower and lower and lower. Well, I don't understand it, bro.
My question is this, is like, can they just point out one thing that it's doing better in? Like, I keep defaulting back to Chalkway and Jackson because that's the immediate issue that affects our daily lives, is the capital city. Can you just tell me one thing that they've done better than it was handed to them, that hasn't gone backwards?
There isn't anything. There isn't anything. And again, those are facts. People don't like facts. They can't get past black and white. They just can't, man. And to me, those people haven't traveled, outside of the zip code, traveled outside of Mississippi, traveled outside of the United States. When you travel and get some knowledge, when you travel and start seeing things, and when you even travel just a state over, hell, if you even travel just, a county over, you were like, wait a minute, why are these people living like this? Yep. It ain't because they're racist.
Man, look, yeah, man. So I live around more black folks in my neighborhood in downtown Brandon than most white folks do in, say, like Bellhaven or Fondren. It's not a race thing. People have this. I mean, Brandon High School is probably, I don't have the numbers in front of me, I can't back this up, but I live there, so I see it with my own eyes. Brandon High School is probably 50-50, 60-40 white-black, somewhere in there. It's not like it's some white enclave out there. It's just a bunch of people, black and white, who don't want to be about that nonsense.
Right. That's it. But you got people who have not traveled outside of 39206. So they don't know. And I'm not making an excuse. But listen, man, get out of your car and travel. Thing is, people know it's a difference. I've heard it. I've seen it. I've been guilty of it. When I cross over and it says enter in Rankin County, if I got one of my cousins or somebody in the car, they immediately put their seatbelt on if they don't have it. Why is that? Because they know it's a difference.
Yeah.
They know it's a difference. They know it is a difference. You should have the same respect for where you live at. But they don't, man. I'm saying they, and it's not just a black thing or a white thing. It's a culture thing. Because I know I got some white partners, and they on that same stupid stuff.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Hey, look, when I like to think I'm a pretty straight arrow when it comes to abiding by the law, other than maybe speeding a little bit here and there. Man, when I cross into Rankin County, my butthole tightens up. And it has for 30 years. You just know, you F around, you're going to find out. I hate to keep going back to that, but it's so relevant. It's a culture, talk about culture, it's a culture in Rankin County that we ain't taking no nonsense here. Does crime happen? Did a lady get carjacked there the other day? Absolutely. When they find said carjacker, I can promise he will not be a participant in the Hines County catch and release program.
That's right. That's right.
That's the difference.
Exactly right. They have a standard. They have a standard that is understood, and it has nothing to do with race, man. It is a standard. Why would you want to live better? Why would you want things to be better? my church sent out a text message saying, hey, find an alternate route to church because the lights are out. Yep. I went down that same road. I think it's Elton Road and something else.
Yep.
Man, lights just dangling by a string.
Yeah, my parents still live down
Friday.
that way. Terry and Elton. Yep.
That's been since Friday.
Mm-hmm. And just to confirm, Brandon's 35% black. So they're not a super minority out there. 35% is a big number in a school that big.
Yes, it is.
You know, in Northwest Rankin's probably even more. So there's plenty of black folks in these schools out there, but it ain't out there making a mess, making a fuss. You know, it's like, and I want to say one more thing. The same people in Jackson who constantly scream about the need for diversity, they live the most racially segregated lives of anybody. Like people, like just hardcore, deep black Jacksonians never get around white people. So
nope.
and they think when they do, there's something fishy going on. And I'm like, man, just get outside your circle a little bit. Leave the neighborhood. We all get along just fine. Like, I don't side-eye nobody I see out in Brandon. Maybe I should. But, I don't. None of that. Or Pearl or any of these places. I mean, I grew up in a very diverse, mixed Jackson 25, 30 years ago. And it changed. And it ain't that city no more. So I just always kind of get a little laugh out of the very people who scream diversity self-segregate themselves worse than anybody.
Right, and that's why their ideology, their outlook on life is just very, very slim. I'm going to land my plane with this. The sponsors I hear on here, like Tom's Fried Pies, man, what's the Acme Pizza? When you go out there, man, you're greeted at the door. Hey, man, how you doing, man? You know, all that. Man, I had a great time at Tom's Fried Pies, had a great time at Acme Pizza and Daiquiri. And yes, I was the minority there, but I wasn't treated that way, and it had nothing to do with my green money at all, man. There are some good people out here, but you got to get outside of yourself to understand that and see that. And I'll land my plane there, brother. Thank you.
Great call. Thank you, brother. To quote Jim Rome, rack him. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.